There's probably no subject that gets more press and more attention today than the subject of leadership. Everybody wants to be a better leader. Everybody wants to know how, and there's probably never been a time when we need better leadership at every level of our society, business, family, community, and everything else. One of the great weaknesses is that people really don't know what the qualities of leadership are. Not knowing what they are, they don't have a target to aim at.
The normal workers are so much more sophisticated and educated than they were before. And I think what they're saying is they can't buy somebody sitting on their high horse, this judge, critic, and evaluator. And that the leader of the future is going to be the one that is willing to roll their sleeves up and get in there and cheerlead and support and encourage and facilitate and listen and do all those kinds of things, because that's the kind that makes sense to people more and more.
Like excellence, leadership isn't a destination, it's a journey. Leadership is an ongoing process. You must work on it every day. You must constantly be aware of it, of how every decision you make affects your ability to reach that destination. Occasional setbacks are to be expected, but the leader, the true leader, will always progressively improve, will continue to make an organization, department, or company, as well as him or herself, better each day. And that's the focus of this Dartnell audio, to guide you on this journey to leadership mastery. Ken Blanchard and Brian Tracy are two great minds focused on the subject of leadership. As recognized leaders themselves, in business, the development of human potential, and human growth, Ken and Brian have spent years consulting and working with leaders all over the world. Here, they combine their extensive research and experience and offer practical ideas and keen insights on leadership, recommendations that you can immediately put to your personal use. So let's begin this program, How Leaders Lead. Listen now as Ken Blanchard identifies the first quality of great leadership.
Well, I think it all starts with some kind of vision. You know, 1 Minute Manager says that the first secret is 1 minute goal setting, and to me, a vision is even bigger than a goal, because it has to do with purpose and mission and what are you all about and where you.
There's more to leadership than telling people what to do. We all know that the old style of autocratic leadership just doesn't work anymore. However, people still want a leader who can call the shots. Today's leader needs to be like a coach. He or she must set the direction, but still give people the freedom they need to make their own decisions.
We've talked a lot about vision and setting a purpose. Once you have a vision and purpose and goals, then you have to get there. How do you manage the journey? And one of the ways that you really manage the journey is through your leadership style. Brian, I kind of define leadership style as an influence process. Anytime you're attempting to influence the behavior of someone else, you're engaging in leadership. And for years when people talked about leadership, they only thought there was two kinds of leadership: autocratic, where you told people what to do, how to do it, where to do it, and when to do it, kind of the military model in the traditional sense. And then the other was democratic, which you involve people in decision-making and you listen to them and all. And what I've found, I don't know if you have, is when you only look at two extremes, what happens is that people yell at each other from the extremes, and the autocrats say to the democrats, you're too easy, you're giving away the farm. The democrats yell back at the autocrats, you know, you're controlling people too much, you're dominating the thing. And what we end up tending to do is throwing the baby out with the bathwater. So we'll be at the autocratic end, and there's enough pressure, and then we say, okay, you know, and now everything is participation and involvement. Then people say, well, people are feeling good, but nothing's getting done. Look at American schools. We had several decades of humanistic education, you know, warm, fuzzy teachers running around hugging kids, and people say kids like school and they're enjoying it, but they can't read, they can't do math. What's happening in American schools is back to basics. You know, we're getting tougher, even in child rearing. People were into, you know, Dr. Spock and others, you know, around love and permissiveness and all. And you go in any bookstore, what is everybody talking about? Dare to discipline. people now in the country talking about tough love and that kind of thing. So I get a little concerned initially when people have these two extremes because we end up flip-flopping from one to the other end.
One of the key roles of the leader is to motivate people. But there's no one way to motivate everyone. You have to understand where each individual employee is coming from and what his or her motivational needs are. It's up to you to create a supportive environment where each person feels important and really wants to work to the best of his or her abilities.
The average employee in any company, according to every study, works at about 50 to 60% of performance. Some work far lower than that. So one of the manager's main job is to increase the return on investment in people. The single most expensive cost of any organization is to find ways to get greater, better, higher performance out of the people that are entrusted to you. And that brings us to motivational theory. What motivates people? What causes some people to perform at high levels and causes others just to do all that they have to do to get by?